Entrepreneurship can be really hard, and when you're doing it by yourself, trying to navigate the terrain, it can almost be impossible. That's why we created the Entrepreneur Circle. Every episode, you're going to hear from incredible entrepreneurs who are in the same trenches that you are in. And we're going to talk through what's working, what's not working, whether it be in marketing, finance, or anything in between. We're here to talk business and figure out how each of us can rise together. So welcome to the circle. Let's dig in. Welcome to this episode of Entrepreneur Circle. I am so excited for today's show. We have the man, the myth, the legend, Joe Pucci.
Thanks for the introduction.
He's here. He's the founder and CEO of Choice Moving Company.
Yep.
A premier moving company in Colorado that's been around for 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to have you on, Joe. I feel like there's so much we're going to dig into. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, it's funny because Joe and I go way back.
Yep.
To good old Cherry Creek High School.
Yep.
The good old days, the glory days.
Yep. Greenwood Village days.
The Greenwood Village days. And Joe has, we were chatting before we started, he moved to San Diego, I believe, for a little while.
Yep.
And then you're recently back in Colorado?
Yeah, I did high school out in San Diego, and then wanted to be back in Colorado for college, so went to CSU, and never left.
Let's go Rams.
Yeah.
Let's go Rams.
Yep.
I love it. Well, I'm so excited to dig in to a few pieces here that I feel like I can relate to a lot in the sense of both building a company and building family, but also coming out of the weeds of your business and instead of working in the business, working on your business. I feel like that's one of the places I'd love to start because for any service-based company, it always starts with the founder that is the service provider, the customer service, the CFO, the CTO. You're doing everything. And then it's slowly clawing your way out of the weeds so that you can be the visionary and grow the company. So I guess take me back 10 years ago. Talk me through the spark that made you even want to start Choice.
The spark was this strong burning desire in my heart and in my soul to quit my job. I did not like doing portfolio management and mortgage banking. That's what I came out of college doing, thinking I just got a great career job. I'm going to do this for the next however long I live, and it's going to be awesome. And 10 months of it, it just wasn't very relatable for a 22-year-old yet. You know, maybe at a different time, I'd be like, this is a perfect fit. So no shame to people who do portfolio management. Great job. It wasn't a good fit for me. I wanted freedom and skiing and time with Madison, my wife, and just like time to enjoy. But I was stuck behind two computer screens for 10-hour days all the time and that kind of thing. So it was just a grind, and I was feeling that, and I didn't want it anymore. And so I thought, what's the next best thing? Because I knew I wanted to do something on my own. That was like the first experience of maybe you're just not fit to work at a big company and kind of feel like that cog mentality. So then, I just really started to get this desire to do something on my own, something for myself. And I was thinking, what's something easy and cheap to bootstrap that I understand? And I did moving throughout all of college, and I understood how the owner ran it and kind of the mentality, a little bit about the numbers, a lot about the service, because I was kind of his operations manager running everything for him. So it just came out to make sense. Talked to Madison about it, bought a used truck, quit the job, and then started doing moves. and it was just, me probably poached a couple of the first, employees that I remember working with. And then I had a few friends, roommates, that kind of thing when you're still young and out of college that you're in good connections with. And like literally in a slow grind, organic way, it was like, I've got to move next Friday. Can you guys come help me? And that would, I'd be waiting until that Friday to go make some money or whatever. You have so much to first do that you think just doing that's almost enough. Like, I filed the papers. I did my forms. I paid the fines. I'm licensed. Insurance is on the way. Like, I'm running a business.
Right.
But, like, you're still doing, like, a job a week, And so that had to slowly start to grow. And it was a long time where I was the owner-operator on the truck. Longer than it should have been looking back. It would have been probably the fastest thing to help us grow quicker. But it took some time before I had people in my corner saying, like, you got to get off the truck. Mm-hmm. If you want to keep growing, if you want to get to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 trucks or whatever, you can't be on them all. you got to make sure you hire. If you're going to hire, you got to make sure you can train. If you're going to train, you got to make sure you have a process. And you start reverse engineering that back to like, oh, I have a lot to do. I have a ton to do to start to remove these hats so that I can grow. Otherwise, I'll always wear them. I'll always just be on the trucks, and I'll be at the same fate as anybody who does just moving, where you're like, my body is eventually going to be like, dude, you can't keep doing this. So noticing all those things was the best thing for the growth of the business and for myself, because it just allowed me to focus on delegating and focus on like building out something I could give other people the opportunity to grow in.
Oh, I love that. I'm curious about the timeline, right? Like less about the timeline and more about the moment that you know that it's time to pull out, get off the truck, like pull out of the weeds.
Yeah.
When you started getting more and more jobs, first of all, what was it? What did you do to go after new customers? What was that thing that helped you grow the business and grow your sales?
Yeah, so it's always funny talking about it because it like what you know now versus what you know then. What I knew then was how to be myself, and that I'm a decent salesman, and that if I get in front of clients, I can sell them on their job, and I'll build repeat clients and referral clients that way. And we did. And like I said, that slow one a week became a couple a week, became a handful a month or whatever, just from knowing a few great real estate agents. And they were our first kind of referral partners to stick their neck out and go, you know, hey, use these guys. They're younger, they're newer, but they're great. I've used them, they're great. Like literally your classic grassroots, just like, I'm just going to show up and drop off some marketing material and let them know I'm here. But I had no idea where to spend money to bring in leads. That whole concept of lead generation and marketing spend and how much should I be bringing in for how much am I spending, it was all very like gray and ambiguous. It just felt like if I throw $1,000 at the wall, it's at the wall and it's in Google, but I don't know what that means and I don't know how to optimize a campaign and all these things. So I just didn't.
You're just not.
Because like you don't have a lot of money and you're spending $1,000 a month to try to get leads and it's not working, and so you're like, cut that expense off right away. Like I need that 1,000, but then you have to grow by word of mouth and organically and very, very slowly. So because I was on all the jobs, the service was great because I could be there from start to finish. A little problem, I was handling it, but again, it's just not scalable. So really, the aha moment is finally getting enough momentum where the volume justified me getting off, because I'm losing money by not having another driver or not having that other truck. And like most people, it started with kind of a hybrid model where like we had our truck and then we get busy and we go rent a truck. Well, then you rent a truck for more than like 10 days and you're like, I could buy a truck and just pay a truck for that, you know, that cost. And then you do, and you just kind of keep doing that. And as you keep doing that, the pressure and the effort to scale becomes so much more apparent in every segment of your business. You're like, oh, if I don't scale the marketing, that won't happen. If I don't scale the, you know, understanding of where the dollars are going, that won't happen. And all the things from operations to sales, but really recognizing that like sales drives everything. I guess I need to switch what hat I'm mostly wearing, and I need to become the salesman. So that's what I did.
Interesting. And how do you like that? Like, do you feel that switching to sales has become something that you enjoy? Are you kind of, is it more of a networking approach for you, or are you overseeing more of the marketing side?
Originally, when it was me wearing the full sales hat, it was a lot more enjoyable because like from start to finish, you get the gratification of like booking a move, and then you send out the guys and it goes well and you're doing all that. But again, the sales volume dictates the scale. So like we started bringing in more and I'm like drowning in quotes and leads. I've got to bring in another salesperson. And then you do that and you start to recognize qualities in other people. And you're like, he might be a better salesperson than me. Man, maybe I should switch up the way we're like adjusting the lead volume. And then next thing you know, it goes to 80-20 and I'm doing the 20. And I'm like, I'm kind of just cherry picking the best jobs, the best leads. I don't mind this. And then he's also doing better than I was anyways with the, you know, basics. And then that was kind of the way we were doing sales and thinking about it. And like you said, as the owner, you're always in marketing, whether you realize it or not. Like how you dress, how you present yourself, how you show up to people when you're on the clock, off the clock, like you represent your business if it's yours. So taking a step back in sales and trying to high level it a bit more, like sales manager. But again, I brought in people who were like better than me. So they're great and they're running their thing and they're basically their own sales managers and know what to do. Then, like you said, now the hat kind of shifted priorities to marketing. Like, okay, you guys are crushing the sales and booking jobs, but how do I bring you more? Marketing. You got to know where to market. You got to know where to spend the money. And then on top of that, just getting really more sophisticated at tracking it. That was a huge thing, which I'm sure you get from the data side and the online side, like knowing where each lead source you have, because it gets really muddied. Like someone could go to your GMB page that then took you to their website, that then took you to your contact form. So then when it comes in, it's like website. But really they found you from your GMB. And like, and if you're paying for money in ads, you want to trace that back all the way to the very genesis. So you know that like, yes, it was that one reel that we boosted that actually got all these views that then turned into clicks to our website. And so let's make another reel,
Right.
So yeah, the more you can track, then you actually have some control over the levers you're pulling for like, shut that one off. We've been running that for 3 months at the same amount and it's not producing, while this one's, doing really well. Bump it up. So you start to do that and then you recognize like, yeah, year over year, leads doing better, month over month, leads doing better.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head for something that we preach with what we do is we aren't just throwing spaghetti at the wall when we do marketing strategies. We're
Right.
following the data.
Right.
Because whatever's working, you want to do more of that. So for instance, if we do 3 different ads, we're testing it and just spending a little bit to test.
Mhm.
And the one that works is the one that you pour the money into and you scale.
Yep.
It's the same with any type of marketing strategy.
Yep.
And it sounds like that's kind of unlocked it for you because there's also a difference between any kind of lead and then a qualified
Yeah.
lead.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the difference between advertising and targeted advertising, at least for us, because like for what I do is like, I don't need to get you necessarily on Mother's Day to remind you to buy flowers and then move. I need to get you when you're moving. I need to get you when you're thinking about moving, when you're like, we've got a house we're selling or we're thinking of buying or we just rented a storage unit. As far as leads go, our mailers, which not digitally, are our best lead source because it's something that is going to be like tied to the NMLS listing and it's very targeted. You can target it by
Interesting.
zip codes, demographics, and the second that house goes, we want to sell for a listing or we're renting out this house for rent.
Yeah.
And then they get the mailer and it's, got a nice coupon and something you probably speak to for your clients is like we put a lot of authenticity into it because it's not a brochure. It's not something most people like throw away just full of coupons. It's like a handwritten note and it's in an envelope. Most people open envelopes addressed to them. So the open rate's like 95% and handwritten note. It's got a picture on the front of our crew, but also on the inside is a picture of my family and me. And like, so people understand that like, hey, we're your local movers. We're not a van line. I'm not an interstate mover. I literally live in your neighborhood. I'm in your community. So are my movers. So are the people who work with us. So are our referral partners. And by the way, here are my cute kids. And
By the way,
by the way, do you like little kids?
I think you just said something so important. They open the envelope and it's a handwritten note.
Right.
That's authenticity through
Right.
and through. I think there's so much, I don't know if clout is the right word, but there's just so much saturated information, so many people doing the same thing. And the only thing that we're seeing cut through the noise is stuff like that. The things that are true, back to our roots, back to what really showcase who you are.
Right.
Like, family man, I live here in the neighborhood. We offer a great service. I think that speaks to it. It
Right.
sounds like you got a good marketing plan over there, Joe.
You got to think about it if you're like a home service because it's a bit more emotional than some other things like just shopping on Amazon or something where it's just like people are like, whatever, that's the same as that. When it's like you got people in your home, which you care about, handling your stuff, which you care about, dealing with sensitive things, dealing with an emotional time. Sometimes it's a great day for moving and people are super excited. Some day it's not. And sometimes there's a drama attached. So it's a thing everybody can universally agree they hate doing, but everybody has to move for different reasons. So it's definitely a spectrum we experience.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. And so tell me more about choice. Like, do you guys come in and actually help people pack?
Oh, yeah.
And move? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. We can tailor out our services to be independent. Like if you just needed packing or prepping or organizing, unpacking, decluttering, that kind of stuff. Labor only. So, you have a pod at your house and you just need guys to load it up or whatever it is with labor. We do in-home shuffles. People are like, I'm redoing my hardwood floors. Can you move everything from the main level to the garage, my storage unit, the basement, X, Y, and Z? And you do that. Basically, anything that justifies needing somebody else to move it because it's too big, too heavy, or you just don't want to deal with it, all the way as small as like final mile delivery. People order gigantic mirror from Crate and Barrel. They don't have a car to pick it up. Crate and Barrel doesn't deliver, stuff like that. We work with designers to do their installs and their pickups, that type of stuff, all the way to full large scale commercial and residential homes that require the full packing, prepping, loading, driving it, unpacking, setting it all up, whatever it is. Yeah, it's really like kind of a one-stop shop depending on what you need, because even if it's not a direct line item, like we partner and refer out so many contracted vendors that like we'll get it done. We're like, oh, you need that gigantic CNC machine moved too? No problem. I'll get a crane over here. It's not ours, but we got a guy. You know, and then, oh, you need cleaners? We got cleaners. Yep. So like we partnered with a cleaning company to be able to offer cleaning specials for move-in, move-outs, that type of stuff. We just basically think of like, what's everything associated with moving? How can we keep adding value for people? Because there's a lot of parameters that are more than just like my move day, the movers. There's a lot, and it's very overwhelming for a lot of people. It's weird how high up on the stress factor thing it's like, you know, lawyer's death, whatever, and then like moving's like always like 3-5. I'm like, man, we're in a kind of a rough industry, which makes sense why. Like the bar is really low, I feel like the bar is low in moving. Most people who have moved a few times have a bad moving experience. It's a difficult job. You're putting like somebody's entire life into a box or a truck and then like into a new place scratch free is like the goal. Like I don't want to see any issues. Like, oh, okay. That's a really hard task on its own. But then on top of that, you just have a lot of like unregulated people who do it at the low end. Then you have a lot of people at the highest end who, you know, have the horror stories of like holding onto their furniture and increasing the price and deceptive price models and stuff like that. And we really looked at that as an opportunity to just like flip the script and say like, let's just be a customer service oriented business that does moving, because this industry is like so in need of good customer service. I remember starting, and even now, hearing when people call and on our sales team will answer and they'll say, you're the 5th mover I've called who finally answered. And so it's like, it's still that type of an industry to some extent, where you've got, you know, old brick and mortar mom and pop shops who've been doing it the same way for 30 years with the paper and the by weight and the charts and the itemized and all these weird things that have kind of like muddied up our industry and made it so it's I don't want to say predatory, but like gives people a pretty healthy level of like guard before they get bids or before they want to use movers, because they don't want a bad experience. And it's unfortunate because it could be so easily a positive experience. If you just go in and prep people's homes, prep their furniture, work really hard, deliver on your accuracy, on your estimate, people always are like, I'll write a 5-star review, I'll tip your guys, this was phenomenal, I didn't lift a thing. It's a service. When it goes really well, people are really happy about it. If it's a bad day, it could be a really bad day. So
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if it's up there with like death and
Right.
These are stressful things.
Right. Exactly.
I imagine.
You can evoke some emotions.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
little bit.
Right.
That's so interesting. I love it. And you also have touched on it a couple times as far as the partnerships that you've struck up along the way. You initially, when we started talking about how did you start growing, you mentioned partnerships with realtors.
Yeah.
So from the partnerships with realtors to now having all these different contractors and different companies that you can lean on to bring in a crane.
Right.
You know, that's pretty epic. Maybe you could speak a little bit to that and how big of an impact you've seen in your revenue as a result of the partnerships that you've struck up over the last 10 years.
It's by far still the best ROI, is just investing in people, investing in the time to get to know them and build an authentic relationship. Like nobody wants to feel used. They want to feel like you're bringing value. So if you just go in and say, Joe Pucci, business cards, call us when you need movers, they're like, okay, like the other movers that gave me their cards, you know? But if you don't even necessarily bring it up and you just are interested in what they do, and maybe you send them a lead before they ever send anything your way, and then you make an effort to reach out for a one-on-one to pick their brain about how you see they're doing their social media campaigns or something, like engage in the people who you're trying to make top referral partners, because why would they be on their team if they don't know who you are? And why would they want to refer people to you if they know that they're kind of sticking their neck out? You know, they're kind of going like, I know moving's tough, but I do have good movers. Like, you know, like you have people, we literally have some referral partners in a funny way, and I have to politely remind them not to do it, who like gatekeep us, because they're like, these are my movers. Like, I don't want them to get too busy, and then I don't have them for stuff, and I'm like, I'll hire. Like, please
don't do that.
Yeah. Like, yeah, let them know. Like, oh well, I'll reach out to you specifically. I mean, you can give them our contact. No, No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
So,
that is awesome. That's a
you know,
good place to be.
yeah, it's nice to have like real loyal referral partners because they know that oftentimes they get such great kudos from the value that we're bringing that it's like it does feel like a translation of value from the realtor. The realtor's job, in a lot of ways, is just to hold their hand and liaison the whole thing. Like, I'm going to deal with your problems. I'm going to help handle your emotions. I'm going to be a part-time therapist. By the way, moving super stressful. I know that's what you guys have been worried about. I got guys that can handle all this. They're fair, they're nice, they're friendly. Joe's great, you'll love him. Like all the things that you want them to say, they go at bat for you because when it comes time for us to do the service, and then it comes back to the realtor, they go, "Your guys were phenomenal. They helped me out so much on that day. I couldn't believe, what they were willing to do, and I was like this, and they were like that." Whatever it is, it's usually in that format. Because I'll tell you what, if it's anything that's less, like our team knows operationally, we also go at bat for our realtors and our referral partners and anybody who's a repeat client because it's like stuff can happen, but we're the company to call to make it right because we're not gonna put it to a hotline that you never reach or make you do a claims form that never gets answered or anything like that. It's like you call, you get a general manager, you get myself. We're getting into the weeds of what happened and making it right.
Right. I think that's the most
Just have
important
to.
thing. You just have to.
You just have to. Like obviously we kind of, but you just have to. It's part of it.
Yeah, even if you take a little bit of a loss in that sense, because you know that referral partner will still feel comfortable referring, even if something goes wrong, which inevitably, I imagine,
Absolutely.
it happens.
Absolutely. I never go into people's homes and we don't train our sales guys to act like damage isn't a thing with what we do. Because anybody who goes in there, then you instantly start feeling like that was a little cheesy and salesy and I don't believe you. I've heard of moving. It's like the scope of it, like I always allude to, is a challenge. But if something small gets scratched or damaged or banged up, we're making it right, no questions asked. If something major does, we're the ones who you want in your corner as a company because we're not going to try to fight you the whole way. We're going to try to make it right with you because that's like our obligation. We're here to give you a service. We're not here to cheat you in a service. We're here to provide it to you. We're small enough still that we can't operate solely on our volume. There is a trend with moving and with home services in general where like you scale to a point now where the owner's not hearing about the reviews. He don't care. Maybe GMs are so big, they don't really care because their reputation doesn't matter on just their reviews like ours does. It doesn't matter on just if their customer service is top notch because they're able to spend $50,000 in a month to buy leads. And then they've got a call center of salespeople to just pound leads. So they're getting leads like a machine and they worry less about the reputation, the quality. People are sold by salesmen and then they don't know what their kind of service they're getting. So we tried to keep high level management still real close to the fact that like someone in customer service might need a liaison real quick and we don't want it to feel so removed that now it feels like a corporate unauthentic experience that they didn't get the treatment they wanted.
Right. Do you plan to hold on to that as you grow? Like in the next 10 years, you have 10 years under your belt.
That's great.
You've built these processes. Obviously, your processes that you have been building are based off of how you want a customer to feel when they work with Choice.
Yeah.
And now you have a team that has successfully replicated that. They're doing it through and through. As you grow and as you get more people on your team and as you get more customers, how do you maintain that small company feel where customers can still pick up the phone and call and they'll actually get somebody who cares?
That is a great question because I feel like that is part of the secret sauce of scaling well. Not fast, because you can scale fast but still have tons of problems. If you're going to scale well, a large part of it is understanding that what you're scaling for is the culture. Because if you keep really good team culture and you have employees who want to be there, who aren't there for a job, they're there because they like it, and they all have the same common goal, the same directive of what we're doing as a business, the same mission, like you get your people to be on your team and follow you, then it makes that whole process easier because now you have a system for onboarding guys. You have a great ops manager training these guys, and that's a machine that's doing itself. And then you have great sales guys, and they're all motivated for their own reasons. That's separate from operations, and they're doing great. And you want to keep feeding them that type of positive reinforcement. And then your managers, they're really invested. So you want them to manage well, and you want them to be tracked based upon performance, and then be given things that motivate them and encourage them to want to continue to grow in your space. Like you have to, it sounds cheesy and a lot of people have said it, but like you have to have a company dream that's big enough for your employees to feel like they can live in it, they can grow in it, they can have their dream be a part of that. Because if your model is just keep paying money in marketing to increase volume in leads, then what happens is you have a ton of leads and a ton of service and a ton of turnover and really bad service. And slowly over those years, you'll watch your reputation decline, and you'll have to do weird strategies like close GMB pages and open brand new ones and do all these tactics to show people that we're not as bad as our online image is, but your reputation has preceded you, and you probably are, because your owner and your culture cares more about growth and the bottom line of profit or the overall goal of revenue than it does how their employees are treated or who shows up at work or how their middle management is or anything like that. So we don't have grandiose goals of revenue or grandiose goals of taking over the US with moving companies everywhere. We're just like, we want our employees to enjoy where they work, and we want the families of our employees to enjoy their lives. And like, if we can do all that through moving, let's keep figuring out how to do that. And it's not like a crazy recipe or lightning rail. It's like, just, would you want to work at a place, or would you quit, and would you leave? And so if you can answer that, and you're running a business where you say, well, most people quit and leave, you might want to figure out why. Why are they quitting and leaving? And if it's like, well, I'm not at the space yet to offer them enough hours, then you know what your problem is. Get to a space where your leads are high enough to offer them hours so that they're busy. And then if they're there and they're like, well, I'm not motivated enough to keep just doing this, then you better have a window for them to grow, like a next position, a promotion, more responsibilities for higher pay, because people don't like stagnation, most people, So again, just trying to come up with what kind of culture is going to be good for the team, good for the type of people you're employing, and then ultimately like good for the direction you and your managers want to go.
You said that so well. I feel like there's two sides to the coin when you look at the average entrepreneur, because we all get into this because we're like, okay, we want to be our own boss. The limit is what we make it. We can grow this thing to the moon. And then you start seeing it grow. And I think unless you're really aware and intentional about keeping it more of a purpose-driven mission rather than a profits-driven mission, if you can do that, then you'll be able to maintain that same level of service, that high-quality service that got you to where you are.
Totally.
I think there's so many times where it's easy to have your vision be clouded from all the sales that you want to close, how big you want to grow, hitting your quarterly markers. I think if we start getting to that point as entrepreneurs, it's time to take a look and see where our why went.
Yeah.
Like, why did we even get into this in the first place?
Yeah, absolutely. I think maybe it's easier for me than some other people because at the forefront of my mind is like, it's a lifestyle, not a career or a job. It's like, this is my lifestyle. My lifestyle is I run this business. And then the whole other aspect of my lifestyle is my family. So it's like, I run this business. It's a service business. I want to create and foster a great place for people to work so that they can start to embody a lifestyle if they want, like I have, where like I have a great balance with my family. I enjoy my work. It doesn't feel like a burden. I don't feel like it's a cost. I feel grateful for the fact that I can, have that balance. And I emphasize my family. Like if I had goals of just the bottom line or revenue, I for sure wouldn't be a family man because it's a huge distraction. Loving on two little kids all the time and going home early to a wife who needs your help and you want to be there to help and you don't want to miss moments and stuff. Like it's hard enough for me to pay for daycare, to know that like I have to pay someone else to watch my kids for most of the day while I have to go and do this thing that's part of my lifestyle to make the whole thing work. There's like, every day I'm torn between that and I'm like, maybe I should just go home, not pay for the daycare and just have them all day. But then you're like, well, but how much is that going to regress what you're trying to do with the lifestyle with your business? So being an individual entrepreneur, knowing how your lifestyle is and your goals and balancing it all is like the magic act that we all have to do. We all have to choose. You hear the classic scenarios of people who choose work over family and what that leads to. And it's pretty hard to come up with a lot of negative externalities of choosing family over work, other than like maybe you don't make as much at work as you wanted. But that being my goal, insulating myself from needing to be there is really my goal with the business. Is like, if I ran a business that just ran itself, I don't need to keep thinking about scaling it. Now I can focus on just being at home with my family, and that lifestyle is very cohesive for us. And it's kind of like that's our short-term, mid-term, and long-term goal. It's all wrapped up in one.
I love it.
Yeah.
There's synergy between work and family and life,
Yeah.
professional and personal. There's not a huge, categorization of the two. They're intertwined. And I feel like it just illuminates from this conversation that you have a fulfilling role in your work and with your family. And I for those of you guys listening, Madison and I were such close friends growing up. But
Yeah.
you just have such a beautiful family and you've built such an
Thanks.
incredible life. And I think, it's just so obvious that your morals are in the right place and you're doing this for the right reasons and you're creating such an amazing environment for your team. And they're also lucky to be with Choice, I think, just by hearing you talk about how you guys show up
Sure.
as a company.
Thanks. Yeah. I appreciate that. I feel really grateful to my family and I feel really grateful to my team because like Zach, my general manager, he runs our Denver location. I wouldn't have a Denver location if it weren't for him being like, me and my family want to move to Denver. And I'm like, perfect opportunity. I would love to be back in Denver with a location, but I don't want to personally live there. I really like where I live in Fort Collins. And so like having that reliance for him to jump on it and start a new location and, and be involved and take on all the stuff that it requires to basically be an owner in a new territory is a lot. It's a heavy responsibility, and like he does it so well. He makes it look effortless. He keeps me on my toes as an owner, and is always pushing me to basically be better with our guys. And it's great. Both of my managers, I have a general manager and ops manager, and they both came from being movers. And they both are people who like right away you notice this initiative about them, this hard work ethic, this like I can do more attitude, and both pretty quickly moved up, started taking on more and more responsibility, and then it was obvious that like this person has a lot to offer. I just need to start to give them the autonomy and the space to like flourish where they are. They each kind of find their niche of what they're good at, and everybody kind of handles the things that they do best and then kind of relies on each other to handle their blind spots. And
Right.
that's how our management team works, and it works well. And again, like Zach took over, he had to jump straight into the frying pan when Piper was about to be born. Madison was diagnosed with cancer, and so she had like a throat cancer that's basically what long-term smokers and drinkers get. And so here's this like young healthy girl with it. Yeah, we had to have the baby early. She had to have a huge surgery, lose a bunch of lymph nodes, part of her tongue, and it was crazy. I was like, I had a newborn at home. I had a wife who couldn't do anything, and I was just like, hey Zach, remember the moving business? Can you do everything that I do while I'm at home doing everything that I need to do? Yeah. And it was like, yep, sounds good. Just, shoot me text messages when I have questions. And like, yeah, so talk about a crash course with like not a very good onboarding or training. And he jumped straight into the fire and just started to figure it out. And because of that, like, again, our management team is probably better than most because we're not as like compartmentalized to the point where like he can only do that. Like Zach is Joe 2.0, and RJ, our ops manager, is becoming Zach 2.0. And we like doing it that way because if you can learn how to basically run this entire business on your own without your boss like telling you what to do, then you're probably ready to start a new location. And that's how we want to grow. We just want to grow by satellite locations. We don't see the idea of just being like some giant dominator with tractor trailers and hundreds of employees. I'm like, if you have a handful of trucks at a handful of locations with great managers who can kind of keep spreading this team culture, that's a winning recipe, we think.
Yeah, it sounds like it's working out.
Yeah.
Yay for Zach for jumping in because I imagine that was a very demanding time.
Oh yeah, that was hard. Yeah, everybody goes through the hard time, the lonely time, the grind time. That was kind of all of it, all mixed in one. Like again, super grateful for having a baby and being able to have a healthy baby girl, and that Madison is cancer free now, and that the surgery was great, and that we caught it, and everything else. It's one of those things where you're like, are you upset that somebody got cancer, or are you glad that you caught it and beat it? It's a weird perspective. You feel cheated, but you feel like you won.
Yeah.
So that bittersweet is for sure always going to be there. But the fact that the team and the company and everything were able to be flexible and pivot was like, that was tremendous. Because again, it maintained the lifestyle, and we kept the lifestyle, and nothing really changed, and we made adjustments. And again, maybe that was a period where like we didn't grow like we wanted to or something, but family took the priority big time.
Yeah, you got through it. And you got through it, and you're now better than you were, I'd say. I mean,
Yeah.
It's just amazing to see both you and Madison thriving, beautiful family. I just love you guys.
Thanks.
I'm so grateful, Joe. Thank you so much for coming on. This, I think, was one of the more impactful conversations that we've had, just about from start to where you are now and how the evolution, not only of you as an entrepreneur, but for your family, for your team. I mean, it's just, there's so much to learn in your story. So thank you for coming on and sharing it with us.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks again. It was really nice to catch up.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll catch you on the next episode. Remember this as you go about your day today. The ideas that are on your heart for a reason. Do not ignore them. Tune into them. Tap in, lean in, understand them, and pursue them. If not you, then who? If this episode was helpful to you in any way, please like, share, comment, subscribe. It does wonders for our efforts, and it helps us to continue our mission of inspiring entrepreneurs and giving them the resources and the perspective we all need to take it to the next level. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Parisa Noble, and we'll catch you next time.